Feelings come and go, just like the wind. But imagine a life where no insult, no stress, no chaos can shake your peace. A life where nothing can control your emotions unless you let it. Sounds powerful, right? If you learn one thing from this video, let it be this. Real peace comes from inside, not from the world around you. Today, we're going over 10 Buddhist principles that will help you stay calm no matter what. As Buddha said, rule your mind, or it will rule you. So if you're ready to stop letting stress and negativity control you, let's get started. Principle number 1, insults and offense. Imagine walking along a quiet path. A stranger picks up a stone and hurls it into a still pond. The water ripples briefly, but soon it returns to calm. Now think about how often life throws its own stones, insults, criticism, negativity. How often do you let those ripples take over? Holding on to anger, replaying words in your mind, letting them shape your emotions? Buddhism teaches a simple truth. Insults only harm you if you let them. Someone else's words have no power unless you choose to absorb them. As Buddha said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Why do insults hurt? Because we're attached to approval, to validation, to fairness. We want respect, we expect kindness, and when we don't get it, we feel wronged. But here's the thing, an insult is just words. It's our reaction that gives it power. Think about it. If a random stranger yelled an insult in a language you didn't understand, would it bother you? No, because those words would mean nothing to you. But if the same words were spoken in your language by someone you know, suddenly they sting. The words didn't change, only your perception did. So how do you stop letting words control you? By realizing they're not about you. An insult is a reflection of the person speaking, not the one receiving it. People throw stones from their own pain. Someone being rude to you isn't about you. It's about their frustration, insecurity, or unhappiness. You are not obligated to catch their negativity. If someone hands you a burning coal, you don't have to hold on to it. If someone throws an insult, you don't have to take it in. The next time someone insults you, try this. Pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, if a child said this to me, would I care? Most insults are just childish outbursts. Visualize their words as smoke. It rises, it fades, it disappears. Smile. This throws people off. Nothing confuses an angry person more than kindness. Your peace is your power. Don't hand it over so easily. Just like a pond returns to calm, you can too. Let the ripples fade. Stay still, stay steady, stay unshaken. Principle number 2, be strict with yourself, tolerant of others. Imagine climbing a mountain. You've planned your route, packed your gear, and set your pace. As you ascend, you see other climbers, some struggling, some racing ahead, some wandering off course entirely. It's easy to feel frustrated, maybe even judgmental. Why aren't they moving faster? Why don't they take this more seriously? But here's the truth. Your climb is yours. Theirs is theirs. Buddhism teaches a powerful balance. Hold yourself to high standards, but be patient with others. Expect discipline from yourself, but don't demand it from the world. As Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Most people do the opposite. They let themselves off the hook while being harsh toward others. They justify their own failures but criticize the flaws in everyone else. This only leads to frustration. The key is flipping this mindset. Let's bring this into real life. Say you commit to a healthy lifestyle, waking up early, eating clean, exercising, but your friend, they hit snooze, skip workouts, and eat whatever they want. You might feel tempted to judge, maybe even resent them. But their journey is not your concern. Your discipline is your responsibility. Their choices are theirs. Being strict with yourself means showing up, even when it's inconvenient. It means taking ownership of your habits, your mindset, your growth. No excuses, no shortcuts. But being tolerant of others means understanding that everyone moves at their own pace. They're climbing their own mountain. Here's a practice. The next time someone frustrates you, pause. Instead of judging, remind yourself, they're on their own journey. Offer support, not criticism. Focus on your path. This doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means leading by example, not by force. The lesson is simple. Be disciplined in your actions, patient with the world. Just as a mountain doesn't rush its climbers, neither should you. Hold yourself to your highest standard, but let others grow in their own time. That's how you find peace. Principle number 3. transform everyone into a teacher. Think about a moment when someone truly tested your patience. Maybe a rude stranger, an unreliable coworker, or a friend who let you down. It's easy to get frustrated, maybe even angry. But what if, instead of reacting, you asked yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? This is one of the most powerful shifts in Buddhist thinking. Everyone you meet, no matter how difficult, has something to teach you. Every interaction holds a lesson, if you're willing to see it. Buddha once said, when watching after yourself, you watch after others. When watching after others, you watch after yourself. In other words, your personal growth is directly linked to how you respond to those around you. Life is full of teachers disguised as challenges. The friend who tests your patience, they teach you tolerance. The coworker who competes with you, they teach you confidence. The person who hurt you, they teach you the value of boundaries. When you adopt this mindset, the world becomes a classroom, and every person, good or bad, becomes a lesson. Imagine this. You're working on a group project and one person keeps missing deadlines. Frustration rises. You could get angry, lash out, or take on their work yourself. But what if you saw this as a lesson? Maybe it's teaching you assertive communication. Maybe it's forcing you to set clearer expectations. Instead of seeing them as a problem, see them as a mirror, reflecting something you need to grow. This doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It means reframing challenges as opportunities. Next time someone frustrates you, take a breath and ask, what is this teaching me? Write it down if you need to. Shifting from reacting to learning transforms stress into growth. The lesson? Life is a teacher, and every experience is a lesson. Once you start seeing challenges this way, frustration fades. Every interaction, good or bad, helps shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Principle number 4. Turn envy into emulation. Everyone's felt it at some point. You're scrolling through Instagram or seeing someone in your circle getting exactly what you want. A promotion, a relationship, success in some form, and you feel that tight knot in your stomach. That ugly thing called envy. It's natural. You've probably thought, why not me? But here's the thing. Envy doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's not something that should make you feel like crap. Instead, it can be a wake-up call, a mirror showing you exactly what you want in life. The trick is not letting it consume you. Instead, flip the script, turn envy into emulation. Let's break it down. Envy shows you what you desire. When you see someone achieve something, the green-eyed monster isn't just some random feeling, it's pointing out your unfulfilled desires. It's showing you the kind of success or lifestyle that you secretly want. So instead of feeling bitter or small, ask yourself, what's the real lesson here? The next time you feel envious, instead of letting that feeling drag you down, let it push you forward. Take a step back and analyze the person you're envying. What is it about them or their achievements that you admire? Maybe it's their discipline, their consistency, their connections, or their mindset. Now, instead of wishing you were in their shoes, start asking yourself, how can I make this happen for myself? If they've built a successful business, study their path. If they've mastered their health, see what habits they have that you can adopt. Emulation is about learning, not copying mindlessly. It's about understanding the strategies, qualities, and skills that led to their success and then applying them in your own life. This isn't about being a copycat. It's about leveraging envy as motivation to level up. Because when you start using envy as a fuel to emulate others' positive qualities, you stop being a passive observer and start becoming an active participant in your own success story. And trust me, when you do this, envy starts to feel less like poison and more like rocket fuel. So the next time that pang of envy hits, instead of stewing in it, get curious. What can you learn from it? How can you turn that envy into action that brings you closer to your own goals? You'll start realizing that every feeling of envy can actually be a stepping stone to your own growth. Principle number 5, the power of acceptance. Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's not about saying, whatever happens, happens. No, it's about facing reality head-on, with no resistance, no fight, and no anger at the situation. Life's not always going to go your way. Sometimes you'll face setbacks, feel like you've lost control, or encounter things that seem unfair. It's tempting to rail against it, to complain, to fight against what you can't change. But the truth? Fighting just drains you. Acceptance is the real game changer. Let's say you're in the middle of a huge mess, a job you didn't get, a friend who's let you down, or a plan that just fell apart. What's the instinct? To resist, to get angry. But you know what resistance really does? It just keeps you stuck. It makes everything worse because now you're fighting two battles, the real situation and your own inner chaos. Acceptance, on the other hand, is the opposite. It's saying, okay, this sucks, but it is what it is. It doesn't mean you like it or that you have to agree with it. It just means you're choosing to let go of the stress that comes from fighting against the truth of the moment. When you accept what is, you conserve energy. You free yourself from pointless frustration and can focus on what you can control. Your next move. Think of it like this. You're stuck in traffic. It's not your fault, but you're not going anywhere. You could waste time yelling at the sky or banging the steering wheel, or you could just accept it. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you respond to it. Once you let go of the anger, you free up mental space to figure out what you're going to do next, like listening to your favorite podcast or just relaxing for a bit. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It's not about rolling over or being passive. It's about recognizing the situation for what it is and choosing to respond from a place of clarity, not frustration. When you accept life as it comes, without the unnecessary resistance, you stop wasting your energy on things you can't change and instead focus on what you can, like moving forward, learning, and growing. Principle number 6, live in harmony with nature. Ever had one of those moments when you're standing outside, watching the sunrise, or listening to the wind rustle through the trees, and suddenly everything feels calm? Like, for a second, you forget about your worries and just become a part of something bigger? That's nature doing its thing. It's a reminder that life moves in cycles, and so do we. If we learn to flow with those cycles, instead of fighting them, we can find balance. The Buddha teaches that we are all part of this world's natural flow. We're born, we grow, we change, we decay, and eventually we renew. Just like nature itself, trees shed their leaves, rivers change course, seasons shift from one to the next. Life is always in motion. The problem is, we often try to fight this flow. We resist change, cling to things we can't keep, or push ourselves past the point of exhaustion in an effort to control everything. But nature doesn't resist, it adapts, and that's something we need to learn. Think of a tree in autumn. It doesn't struggle to hold on to its leaves, it lets go. And in the spring, new leaves come. Life's exactly like that. We go through seasons too. There are moments of growth, of challenges, and of letting go. If we learn to let go like that tree, trusting that new opportunities will come after the hard times, we can live more freely. Next time you're feeling overwhelmed by life's changes, take a moment to step outside. Listen to the sounds, feel the wind, see the sky. Nature has a way of grounding us. It helps us remember that everything is part of a cycle. Embrace the changes, trust the process, and let yourself be carried by the flow of life. When we align ourselves with nature's rhythm, we find peace. The world doesn't need to be perfect for us to thrive in it. Just like nature, we too have everything we need to grow. Principle number 7, practice ethical living. Imagine this, you're standing by a still lake, looking at your reflection. Now, imagine throwing a single stone into that water. The ripple effect spreads across the lake, touching every corner of it. That's exactly how your actions affect the world around you. In Buddhism, living ethically means understanding that your thoughts, actions, and words create ripples in the lives of others. Living ethically isn't about perfection. It's about doing your best to act in alignment with your values. The Buddha teaches us that our thoughts shape our actions, and our actions ripple out, shaping the world. So, whether it's showing compassion to someone in need, being honest even when it's hard, or just choosing to be kind instead of reacting with anger, it all makes a difference. We live in a fast-paced world where shortcuts, selfishness, and dishonesty sometimes seem like the easiest route. But when we act against our values, we create internal chaos, guilt, anxiety, and regret. On the flip side, when we act with integrity, we build peace within ourselves. It's like your life becomes more stable, more grounded, like that calm lake, reflecting everything beautifully without distortion. Here's how you can live more ethically every day. Start by reflecting on your core values. What do you stand for? Kindness, fairness, honesty. Use these as your compass when making decisions. And when you're faced with a tough choice, take a step back, breathe, and ask yourself, does this action reflect the person I want to be? Ethical living is more than just avoiding harm. It's about actively contributing to the world's goodness. A small act of kindness, like holding the door open or offering a word of encouragement, can set off a chain of positivity. Over time, these actions ripple out, creating a bigger impact than you may ever realize. Principle number 8, silence as a shield. Imagine standing at the edge of a storm. The wind howls, rain lashes against your skin, and the chaos of the world overwhelms you. But what if, instead of fighting the storm, you simply step back, close your eyes, and find stillness? In Buddhism, silence is more than just the absence of sound. It's a powerful shield, a sanctuary in the midst of chaos. It's the space that allows us to pause, reflect, and respond wisely, rather than react impulsively. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded by noise, social media, work demands, relationships, and the endless stream of thoughts in our minds. But amidst this noise, silence provides clarity. It offers us a chance to step away from emotional turbulence and gain perspective. Buddha often spoke about the importance of mindfulness, being fully present in the moment without judgment. This principle is especially important when we react impulsively. Our emotions often take over, leading to regretful actions. But when we allow ourselves a moment of silence before responding, we create space for wisdom to emerge. In this quiet pause, we can reflect on our true intentions and choose our response with clarity and compassion. Take the story of a young man who worked in a high-stress job. One day, a colleague made a harsh comment during a meeting, triggering an immediate surge of anger. His first instinct was to retaliate, but then he remembered the power of silence. Instead of responding right away, he took a deep breath, counted to 10, and remained silent. In those few seconds, his anger subsided, and he was able to address the situation calmly and thoughtfully. Not only did the conflict de-escalate, but respect between him and his colleague deepened. In our lives, silence can be a refuge when stress or conflict arises. It's not about withdrawing from the world, but taking a step back to avoid reacting from a place of heightened emotion. Whether it's in a heated argument, a difficult conversation, or a moment of self-doubt, silence offers us the opportunity to gather our thoughts and respond with intention. To incorporate this principle into your life, start by making space for silence each day. Even just a few minutes of stillness, whether through meditation, mindful breathing, or quiet reflection, can help you build resilience and stay grounded in the face of life's storms. The more you practice silence, the easier it becomes to use it as a tool for navigating stress and conflict. Silence is a powerful shield that protects your peace and empowers you to respond wisely in the chaos of life. Principle number 9, non-attachment in relationships. Think about a flower in a garden. It blossoms freely without being forced to grow in a specific direction or become something it's not. The beauty of the flower lies in its authenticity, its natural existence in the present moment. Relationships, too, flourish when they are nurtured by acceptance rather than controlled by expectations. In Buddhism, this is known as non-attachment, and it holds the key to building healthy, thriving connections with others. Non-attachment in relationships is not about detachment or withdrawing from those we care about. It's about letting go of the need to control or change others. Buddha's teachings remind us that attachment to outcomes, whether it's expecting someone to behave a certain way, meet specific needs, or act according to our desires, can create suffering. When we let go of these expectations, we free both ourselves and others to be who we truly are, without the weight of judgment or pressure. Think about a time when you've tried to control a relationship, perhaps by wanting someone to love you in a specific way or expecting a friend to always meet your needs. The result is often frustration, resentment, or disappointment. But when you release those expectations and allow the other person to show up as they are, something beautiful happens. The relationship transforms. It becomes one of mutual respect, understanding, and acceptance. Take, for example, the story of a young woman who constantly tried to change her partner, hoping he would become more like the person she envisioned. She was frustrated by his habits, interests, and his way of thinking. But after a conversation with a wise elder, she was encouraged to practice non-attachment, accepting him for who he truly was, not who she wanted him to be. Slowly, she realized that her love for him deepened, not because he changed, but because she learned to see and appreciate him as he was. The relationship became more peaceful and authentic. In our modern lives, this principle is more relevant than ever. We live in a world of social media, where relationships are often influenced by external standards or unrealistic expectations. We may feel pressure to make our relationships look perfect or to fit them into an idealized mold. However, true connection comes from emotional independence, where we accept and appreciate others for who they are, without trying to control or change them. To apply this principle, start by examining your expectations in relationships. Ask yourself, am I trying to change or control the people around me? Practice releasing the need for others to meet your expectations. Instead, appreciate them for their uniqueness and allow space for growth and authenticity. Non-attachment in relationships allows love to flourish naturally. It leads to deeper, more meaningful connections rooted in acceptance and emotional freedom. When you let go of control, you invite peace into your relationships and, in turn, into your life. Principle number 10, trust the process and let go. Let's imagine you're holding onto a rope, pulling with all your might. You're desperate to control the outcome. Your muscles are straining, your mind is racing, and you feel the weight of the world pulling you down. But no matter how hard you pull, you feel exhausted and stuck. Now imagine instead of pulling, you simply let go. This is where Buddhist wisdom comes into play. Buddha teaches us that attachment is the root of suffering. When we cling to outcomes or try to control every part of our lives, we only invite stress, anxiety, and disappointment. Life is unpredictable, and no amount of force can change that. Think about a river flowing to the sea. It doesn't fight against the rocks or obstacles. It simply flows, trusting that its journey is enough. Similarly, when we let go of our attachment to outcomes, we free ourselves to experience life's flow. We stop struggling and start moving with the current, embracing what comes. Consider a young monk tasked with planting trees along a temple path. He worked tirelessly, nurturing each tree, but one by one, they withered. Confused and discouraged, he asked his master for guidance. The master simply smiled and told him to let go of the need to control the process. Over time, new shoots began to grow stronger than ever, showing the monk that by releasing control, nature could reveal its wisdom. In today's world, we often struggle with uncertainty, trying to control everything from our careers to our relationships. We want answers, we want control, but the uncertainty we fear is an essential part of the journey. When we trust that things will unfold as they should, we free ourselves from constant worry. To practice letting go, start by accepting that life is unpredictable. Rather than obsessing over every detail, focus on the present and what you can do today. Let go of rigid expectations and allow life's surprises to guide you. Every time you feel yourself clinging to a specific outcome, pause, breathe. And remember, peace comes when we stop trying to control and start trusting the process.